Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to tackle public speaking.
Ooh, fun.
We're going to learn how to make your words, hit with the force of a hammer.
Awesome.
We're extracting wisdom from Dale Carnegie's The Art of Public Speaking. I mean, it's a classic guide, right?
Yeah.
And it's helped a lot of people find their voice and project confidence, even if, you're secretly, super nervous.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We'll even uncover why thinking of your speech as like a silver flood,
A silver flood.
Yeah, it can actually make you a more compelling speaker.
Interesting. What's fascinating about Carnegie is he goes beyond mere techniques.
Yeah.
He dives into the very essence of what makes a speaker powerful, the speaker themselves.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Mm-hmm.
Right from the start, Carnegie throws down a truth bomb.
Uh-huh.
He's like, methods are secondary matters. Having a full mind, a warm heart, and a dominant will are more important than any trick or technique.
It's like having a powerful engine in a car.
Okay.
The techniques are like the steering wheel and the pedals, but without that engine, you're not going anywhere.
Gotcha.
A speaker lacking this inner strength is, as Carnegie puts it, a wooden image dressed as a man.
Oh, wow.
You need that spark, that genuine enthusiasm to really connect with your audience.
And that connection can be a bit unnerving, right?
Yeah.
Carnegie talks about this strange sensation a speaker might feel when faced with a sea of expectant faces.
Totally. He describes it as, a nameless thrill pervading the atmosphere.
Ooh.
Tangible, evanescent, indescribable. It's like that hyper-awareness, right, of the audience's gaze, a feeling many experience as stage fright.
So how do we overcome that feeling?
Yeah.
I'm guessing conquering that fear is crucial for anyone who wants to, master public speaking.
Carnegie's answer is powerful. This strange sensation vanishes completely the moment the speaker forgets self and throws his whole being into the task of interesting and instructing his hearers. He argues that focusing on the audience, on delivering valuable content, melts away that initial nervousness.
It's about shifting the focus from inward anxiety to outward connection.
Right.
And speaking of connection, Carnegie then dives into the importance of emphasis and variety.
Yes.
He compares it to how newspapers use different font sizes to guide our attention.
It's about making your message crystal clear. He introduces this concept of mountain peak words.
Ooh, I like that. Mountain peak word.
The words that carry the weight of your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Emphasizing these keywords, much like bolding them in text, helps them stand out and stick in the listener's mind.
So it's not just about volume, it's about strategic emphasis.
Right.
Highlighting the most important points with your voice.
Yes, and just as varying font sizes prevents visual monotony, changing the pace of your speech keeps the audience engaged.
I see.
A monotone delivery can be as dull as a page with only one font size.
Right. It's like adding punctuation to your spoken words. You wouldn't want to read a whole paragraph with just one long rambling sentence.
Exactly. You need those pauses, those shifts in rhythm, to break things up and give the listener's brain a chance to process what you're saying.
Okay.
But Carnegie is clear that grabbing and holding the audience's attention requires more than just a dynamic delivery.
Mm-hmm.
You need something of substance behind those words.
Content is king, as they say. He makes this point with a rather amusing analogy. Imagine a tour guide who's supposed to show you the highlights of New York City.
Oh, yeah.
But instead gets lost in Chinese laundries and boot-blacking parlors on the side streets. Mm. Not exactly the Empire State Building, right?
It's like missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah.
The audience is giving you their time and attention.
Right.
You owe it to them to make it worthwhile. You need to deliver something truly valuable, whether that's insightful information or compelling entertainment.
And to really drive his points home, Carnegie uses some fantastic anecdotes. One that caught my attention was the example of a speaker selling copper shoe plates to prevent baldness.
Yes. This is where he shows the power of storytelling and enthusiastic delivery, even for seemingly outlandish ideas.
The speaker claimed that by harnessing the Earth's electricity, these copper plates could magically stop hair loss. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. But Carnegie points out how the speaker's passion and vivid language actually convinced people.
It's about painting a picture with words. And
Yeah.
Carnegie himself is a master of imagery. Describing the success of this speaker, he says, the money poured in on him in a silver flood.
Wow, a silver
Now,
flood.
that's not just reporting a fact.
Right.
It's creating an experience for the reader.
It really makes the point memorable.
Yeah.
Speaking of memorable, what does Carnegie have to say about preparing a speech that will actually stick with the audience?
He's a strong advocate for thorough preparation, both in content and delivery. In fact, he believes in memorizing speeches.
Memorizing. Wouldn't that make it feel stiff and robotic?
Interestingly, he brings up William Ellery Channing, a renowned speaker who praised the art of recitation.
Okay.
Channing argued that memorization allows the speaker to focus on delivery and connection rather than fumbling with notes.
So there's a place for memorized delivery. But I'm guessing Carnegie isn't suggesting we become emotionless robots reciting lines.
Definitely not. He also talks about the value of extemporaneous speaking, which is more about like having a deep understanding of your material and key points,
Gotcha.
but allowing for flexibility in your delivery.
So it's like having a map, but being open to taking different routes depending on the terrain?
Precisely. Carnegie compares it to a delightful sail with the audience, where you're guiding the journey, but also responding to the winds and currents along the way.
I like that. It allows you to connect more directly with the audience and adjust based on their reactions.
Now, this is where it gets a little mind-bendy.
Oh.
Carnegie introduces the concept of the crowd mind.
Yes. He suggests that crowds are more susceptible to emotional appeals than individuals.
Interesting.
They're driven by a kind of collective consciousness that can be incredibly powerful.
So it's like a hive mind,
Kind of, yeah.
where everyone's individual thoughts and feelings like kind of melt together into this like larger entity.
In a way, yes. He gives a pretty intense example to illustrate this, the flagellation craze in the 11th century.
Wait, flagellation as in self-whipping.
Exactly.
Ouch.
Carnegie's point is that emotional fervor, especially when amplified by a crowd, can lead to some pretty extreme behaviors. It's a stark reminder of the power and potential danger of group dynamics.
Wow, that's a powerful image. But for speakers, understanding the crowd mind is crucial for crafting messages that resonate, right? Absolutely. It's about knowing how to evoke a desired response, whether that's inspiration, laughter, or even a call to action.
Yeah.
You need to understand the emotional undercurrents flowing through your audience.
Speaking of powerful language, Carnegie also dives deep into the importance of choosing the right words. He even quotes the French stylist Flaubert,
Oh, yeah.
who believed that for every idea, there's one word for expressing it, only one verb to animate it, only one adjective to qualify it.
Powerful.
He argues that language is the foundation of effective communication. Vivid language, like using epithets, those descriptive words like old fox instead of just sly fellow, can paint a more compelling picture.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Or using onomatopoetic words like crash,
Right.
that mimic the sounds they describe,
Yeah.
can make your speech more visceral and engaging.
Exactly. He stresses the importance of cutting out unnecessary words, those modifiers and connectives that clutter your message. Think of it like decluttering your speech. Every word should serve a purpose.
So it's about being concise,
Yeah.
impactful, and choosing words that resonate with the audience.
And of course, no discussion of impactful speaking would be complete without talking about storytelling.
Right.
Carnegie points out that storytelling on a platform is different from written storytelling. It needs to be more dramatic, more visual, to capture the audience's attention in a live setting.
He uses the example of that speaker selling copper shoe plates. The way he builds up the story, the vivid descriptions, it's all part of creating a captivating narrative.
Exactly. He emphasizes techniques like setting the scene, building suspense, and delivering a satisfying climax. You're taking the audience on a journey with your words.
But what about the actual delivery?
Yes.
The voice, the gestures, all that good stuff.
Carnegie has a lot to say about that, too. He's adamant about avoiding certain habits, like looking at the floor. Or constantly listening to your own voice.
Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of the floor gazing thing. I can see how it would make you seem less confident, less connected to the audience.
It's a common nervous habit. But, think of it this way. Would you trust a tour guide who never made eye contact?
Probably not. Eye contact helps build trust and connection.
He also talks about the importance of deep breathing for voice support and resonance. Remember that analogy of a weak voice being like a bullet with little powder?
Yeah.
It makes sense. A strong voice commands attention and helps carry your message to the back of the room.
I've definitely heard speakers who, strain their voices trying to be heard. It's not pleasant.
He also emphasizes the importance of practicing these techniques in everyday life.
Okay.
It's about building those habits of confident, clear, and engaging communication.
Right.
That will serve you well in any situation, not just on stage.
We've covered a lot of ground here. Confidence, emphasis, variety, compelling content, storytelling, voice projection, and delivery.
Right.
But it feels like there's one more piece to this public speaking puzzle.
You're right. Carnegie closes this part of his discussion by reminding us that while techniques are important, they're ultimately just tools.
So it's not enough to just master the techniques.
Right.
You need something more.
Exactly. He brings us back to his initial point about the importance of a full being, someone with a full mind, a warm heart, and a dominant will.
It's about having something to say, something you believe in, something you're passionate about.
Precisely. It's that passion, that conviction that truly makes a speaker powerful. The techniques are there to help you express that inner fire, to channel it effectively to your audience. Think about the most memorable speakers you've encountered. They likely had a certain charisma, a spark in their eyes, that went beyond just polished delivery.
It makes you wonder if that's what separates a good speaker from a truly unforgettable one.
I think so. It's like the difference between, reading a recipe and actually cooking a meal.
Yeah.
You can follow all the steps, but without that love for the craft, that passion for flavor, the result will be, bland.
So the techniques are like the scaffolding, but the real structure,
Right.
the heart of the matter is that inner drive.
It's exactly.
You've given me a lot to chew on as I prep for my next presentation.
And speaking of preparation, remember those copper shoe plates?
Oh, yeah.
Carnegie uses that anecdote to illustrate another key point.
Okay.
Even with, a crazy idea, preparation and belief can take you far.
So it's not just about believing in yourself, it's about believing in your message.
Yes.
Even if it's about, electrifying your feet to cure boldness.
Exactly. Thorough preparation helps you, internalize your message,
Okay.
to own it fully.
Yeah.
And that confidence, it shines through in your delivery.
Okay, so we've got the full being as the engine, techniques as our tools,
Yeah.
and thorough preparation as our fuel.
Oh.
What else does Carnegie recommend for crafting a truly compelling speech?
He emphasizes the power of word choice.
Okay.
Remember Flaubert's belief that there's one perfect word for every idea?
Yeah. Yeah.
Carnegie echoes the sentiment, urging speakers to be precise and intentional with their language.
He compares vivid language to using epithets, those descriptive words like old fox, instead of just sly fellow.
Those epithets add color and personality to your language.
Right.
It's the difference between a sketch and a fully realized painting.
When using onomatopoetic words like crash,
Exactly.
that mimic the sounds they describe, can make your speech more visceral
Yes.
and engaging.
He also stresses the importance of cutting out unnecessary words.
Okay.
Like those modifiers and connectives that clog up your sentences. Think of it like decluttering your speech.
Right.
Every word should serve a purpose.
So it's about choosing each word carefully for maximum impact.
Yes.
Making every syllable count.
And of course, we can't forget the power of stories.
Right.
Carnegie argues that storytelling on a platform is different from written storytelling. It often needs to be more dramatic, more exaggerated, to captivate the audience's attention in a live setting.
He uses the example of the copper shoe plate speaker again.
Right.
The way he builds up the story.
Right. Yes.
Those vivid descriptions, it's all part of creating a captivating narrative.
Exactly. He emphasizes techniques like setting the scene, building suspense, and delivering a satisfying climax.
Yeah.
You're taking the audience on a journey, guiding them through a world you've created with your words.
It's like the difference between reading a play and seeing it performed live.
Right.
The live performance adds a whole other dimension of energy and emotion.
Now, what about the actual delivery? The voice, the gestures, those elements that bring the words to life.
Carnegie has plenty to say about that too. He's a big believer in avoiding habits like looking at the floor.
Yes.
Or constantly listening to your own voice.
Yeah.
I know I'm guilty of the floor gazing thing sometimes.
It's a common nervous habit, but it can make you seem disconnected from the audience.
Right.
Think of it this way. Would you trust a tour guy who never made eye contact?
Probably not. Eye contact helps build trust and connection.
He also talks about the importance of deep breathing for voice support and resonance. Yeah.
Remember that analogy of a weak voice being like a bullet with little powder?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Okay.
A strong voice commands attention and helps carry your message to the back of the room.
I've definitely heard speakers who sound like they're about to lose their voice.
Right.
Not exactly a recipe for a memorable presentation.
Carnegie advocates for practicing these vocal techniques in everyday life.
Okay.
It's about building those habits of clear, confident communication that will benefit you in any situation, not just on stage.
It's like training for a marathon. You don't just show up on race day and expect to run 26 miles. You put in the work beforehand to, build up your strength and endurance.
It's about making those techniques second nature.
Right.
So you can focus on connecting with your audience and delivering your message with impact.
Okay.
And remember, Carnegie circles back to that idea of the full being.
Yeah.
He's saying that mastering techniques is only part of the equation. So even with all the right tools and training, something's missing without that core essence, that inner fire.
It's like having a perfectly tuned instrument, but no musician to play it.
So techniques are important.
Yes.
But they need to be fueled by genuine passion, a deep belief in what you're saying.
Think of it this way. Would you rather listen to a technically flawless speech delivered with no emotion?
Yeah.
Or a slightly less polished speech that was overflowing with conviction?
I know which one I choose.
Right.
I'd rather feel something than just be impressed by technical skill.
Exactly. It's that emotional connection that makes a speech truly memorable.
Yeah.
Carnegie stresses that while methods are important, they're ultimately just tools.
Okay.
It's the heart and soul behind those methods. That genuine passion for your message that truly resonates with the audience.
This reminds me of some of the most captivating speakers I've seen.
Yes.
They weren't always perfect, but their belief in their message was contagious.
Right.
It made me want to lean in and listen to feel what they were feeling.
That's the power of a full being using those methods.
Right.
It's not just about information. It's about inspiration, connection, and shared humanity.
Yeah.
And that brings us back to the listener.
Okay.
You, the one preparing for your next presentation.
Right.
You've got this.
Carnegie has given us so much to consider. Confidence, preparation, the power of words, storytelling, vocal techniques, and above all, the importance of being a full being behind those methods.
It's a lot to take in, but remember, you don't have to master it all at once.
Okay.
Focus on one element at a time, practice regularly, and most importantly, bring your genuine self to every speaking opportunity.
I love that advice. Be yourself, be prepared, and be passionate about your message. It's like that saying, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
That's a perfect way to sum up Carnegie's philosophy. He even gives specific advice on how to make the audience feel something. Remember those mountain peak words we talked about?
Yeah. Carnegie suggests ending your speech with one of those powerful words to leave a lasting impression.
So it's not just about starting strong, it's about finishing strong too.
Right.
Leaving the audience with something to ponder, something to feel.
Exactly. And he reminds us that knowing your audience is crucial. Before you even start crafting your speech, think about who you're speaking to. What are their interests, their needs, their hopes and fears?
It's like choosing the right bait for the fish you're trying to catch.
Right.
You wouldn't use the same lure for a trout as you would for a marlin.
What's fascinating is that Carnegie suggests even considering the physical environment where you'll be speaking.
Okay.
A small, intimate setting might call for a different approach than a large auditorium. It's about tailoring your message to resonate with the specific people in the specific place where you're delivering it.
So it's not just about what you say, but how you say it and where you say it.
Exactly. All these factors contribute to the overall impact of your speech.
Absolutely. He also gives some practical advice on handling nerves.
Okay.
One technique he recommends is to focus on a friendly face in the audience. It helps create a sense of connection and ease that initial anxiety.
That's a great tip. It's like having a personal cheerleader in the crowd.
And for those who struggle with stage fright, he reminds us that even the most seasoned speakers experience nervousness.
Yeah.
It's a natural human response to being in the spotlight.
Right.
The key is to not let that fear paralyze you.
He also reminds us that the audience wants us to succeed.
Yeah.
They're rooting for us to deliver a compelling and engaging speech.
Exactly. They're not sitting there hoping you'll, trip up or forget your lines.
Right.
They're there to be informed, entertained, or inspired.
Right.
And that brings us back to you, dear listener. As you prepare for your next presentation, remember all these gems of wisdom from Dale Carnegie.
Be your full self. Know your audience. Prepare thoroughly. Choose your words carefully. Tell captivating stories. Master your delivery. And remember, the audience is on your side.
Carnegie emphasizes that the most important thing is to connect with your audience authentically and deliver a message that matters. If you can do that, you'll be well on your way to becoming a truly powerful and impactful speaker.
What's one question you can ask yourself before every speech to make sure your message truly resonates with the people you're speaking to? Keep that question in mind as you embark on your public speaking journey. And for an even deeper dive into the art of persuasion and captivating your audience, I highly recommend checking out Dale Carnegie's The Art of Public Speaking. It's packed with insights and timeless advice that will help you own any stage, from a boardroom to a wedding toast.
Happy speaking!